Hey guys, it's Lucid. Welcome back to another episode with Middle-Aged Ulm. In Great Expectations, it is turn 23. If you recall the end of the last episode, it was a bit of a cliffhanger. We were preparing for our big battle, and we were talking about it in the diplomacy. And I didn't cover this in the battle, but I actually sent Scaleria a message that turn saying to think if you were big, or if you were allowed time to get your undead factory going, or if it weren't 2v1, and then like shiver. It's going to be a big battle this turn. So anyway, trying to be sportsman-like with Scaleria, even though it's just a bloody fight right now. So anyway, let's see this turn. Let's see if we have a battle. So you can see I did get up to Enchantment 3, which is going to give me Strength of Giants. We cast Augury, didn't find anything, which is apparently typical. So Scaleria sends a tiny raiding party. I'm not actually sure where that is. Stillwind, I'm not sure. I think this is the fort that I was on. Doesn't have a picture. Okay. Dolomir Peaks. Okay, this is the big battle, guys. So this is my army. You can see we've got all our dudes protecting our flanks, we've got our mages, we've got our priests, we've got our hero, we've got our archers, we've got another flank squad, we've got black knights. The other thing that I did, and you can kind of tell this line is shifted over, and that's because I want these black knights to be able to get out and to go flank. I don't know if that will work. The other problem is, again, I put these guys, as we'll find out in a minute, on hold and attack closest, not on hold and attack rear. And so this is his army, and it definitely outnumbers me, and it's got some very killy dudes. So we'll see how it goes. And he's got a nice little Death Communion. They don't have much research yet, though, but they can at least do all the holy stuff. Okay, the opening salvos. Okay, so I think that was Protection of the Sepulchre. Does he have Power of the... Okay, so he said he has Power of the Sepulchre out too. So the undead are gonna kind of diverge and probably run ahead from everyone. And you can see my guys are running forward. They're kind of running forward in a ball. Now these things are all the Strength of Giants. That's what that spell is. My guys almost have all been buffed up with Legions of Steel. You can see they're at 26 protection instead of 23. There's probably a couple guys who don't have that buff. Bladewind's coming out, doing a little bit of damage. Killed a Rotarius. Another Bladewinds. The other thing that's worth pointing out is I have one dude here. This guy. He's an Earth 3 that I gave Earth Boots, and I put a Girdle of Might on. So he's got 7 reinvigoration. His encumbrance is kind of high from old age and the cold, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, he's going to be able to spam out far more spells than everyone else. Okay, I think these are just... Yeah, that's not my... This is my hero, or my thuggy dude. But you can see tons of Bladewind coming out. Probably a little mistimed, and it's going for these guys because it's worried about friendly fire. But that's not really ideal. And because we were on hold and attack closest, you can see this is really light, so these guys are all going to die off over here, so these Rotarias kind of converge inwards. Magma Bolt's hitting my own dudes like a champ. Okay, and it looks like these guys are beating up against the Ulmish wall. Oh man, look at that blade land. So much damage. Yeah, look at that. So it's looking like it's going good. We're definitely taking casualties. But the spellcasting support is what's really making a difference here. Like, all my guys over here, like, these guys are not inflicting any damage to their targets. They're all tied up in nets. So it's really important to have this spellcasting support, because that's what's doing all the damage. We've got Earthmeld coming out. Tons of friendly fire. But if I'm disabling both sides of the line with Earth Meld, that's kind of okay, because I've got way better evocation coming in. And like Blade Winds, it does almost no damage. It relies on kind of hitting guys with low protection. Okay, and this cavalry squad has now finally broken through the line, and it's running into the rear. Mage is continuing with friendly fire, and you can see this is a much smaller army than we originally had. But his army is far smaller. Some of our guys have run off the field, so there's a very, very close fight. And his guys are in full retreat. A lot of the mages are running. I think most of the Communion Masters will get out, but these Communion Slaves are all fatigued up. And, by the way, what this guy is doing is textbook for how you should defend yourself if you're rushed early game as Scaleria. I mean, this is like the perfect defense. It's just... he's small. He didn't have a great expansion. Partially because of his location on the map. And then partially because Jotunheim and I expanded pretty quickly and boxed him in. And so therefore he didn't have a ton of forts up either. So... it could have been more than we could handle. It was definitely more than either one of us could have handled. So the only way to take him was a 2v1 rush. So if we look at the final battle report, I lost 2 Acolytes, which isn't that much. Some of my Amazons, which is not that bad. And then some of my Black Knights. A fair amount. I mean, that's a lot of Black Plate, but that's replaceable. I mean, if you think about it, it's only $400 worth of dudes. That is not that much in terms of cost. It's a lot in terms of resources. A Guardian, and then we lost 1 or 2 of these guys. So, not that bad, but on his side, the losses were catastrophic. I think some of my guys retreated. We'll see how many. But yeah, he lost basically everybody. A lot of his Thaumaturgs as well. So, 21 dudes dispersed, or retreated, and 13 of them made it back. So, in addition to what we saw in the battle, I lost another 8. So that's that. And yeah, so that's the battle. And we have a fair amount of dudes left. Okay, sorry, I had to hop up for a second. But, yeah, so we won this battle pretty convincingly. This was where he kicked us off of his fort with just a little tiny scouting party. And we successfully jumped on top of this fort. I don't think there was much here. What was here again? Yeah, just like 10 PD. So, that's good. And we can see that Jotunheim was also successful getting on top of Scaleria's fort. So, what to do now? We have a few options. One is we could run up this way. I think running this way is pretty dangerous. Well, it's not... okay, I want to get this fort locked up. One thing is he's making ghouls, so I want to go ahead and get on top of this so we can't keep making ghouls, because eventually this is going to be my province. So we're going to jump on top of it. We're going to bring most our dudes. I'm not really worried about fighting this as much, so we're going to be doing some things which we don't necessarily need to do. Like we're going to site search here, which will do fire, earth, and holy. Most of these guys are going to move on top of this and start sieging it, but some guys, like these two, are going to come on top of this fort, and we're going to have these guys just move and patrolling. Which actually is pretty risky. But they're basically just going to buff up the PD here to fight. I will still lose if he sends his whole stack onto this, but that's really unlikely. But I will definitely... all the Rotarius will probably have to fight. And so, in that way, even though he'll take it, he'll be sitting on top with nothing, and then I can just take it back. Because when these guys have Strength of Giants on them and Legions of Steel, they'll be pretty tough. It'll take quite a few Rotarius to bring him down, I think. But like this guy, he's moving in, but he's not moving, patrolling. I don't really want them to die. I probably should have scripted these guys to retreat, but I guess I'm just thinking that the front line will die and then they'll have time to run away. But that might be a bad assumption, so that's kind of risky. Meanwhile, I'm assuming if I were this guy, I would be like, well, let's send like a small little deployment here, cut off this guy's retreat route. this group is also just right on the cusp of being big enough to fight all these guys. I think it would probably lose. It may win with a ton of attrition, but that's not a game I want to play right now. So we're going to move off here, and we're going to send a big force this way. So he could come and try to push me off of this, because he's got a ton of dudes in here, so he may be comfortable just sitting bottled up in his fort. What I think he's probably most likely to do is take all these guys and smash them off this fort, because this is an army big enough for him to kill without a huge amount of attrition. I do not think it's likely he moves back on top of here, but if he does, that's fine. We're just going to have one PD here. And I can come back and knock it off with this army if I need to. But this is not going to be big enough to one turn pop the fort either, so if he moves on top of this, I can break through this fort and then come back and get him. So that's not a good move for him. But highly likely he raids here, so we're going to defend that. I'm going to get off this because I don't want to fight him. Another option is he could try to fight all these Gamherdings. I don't know if that'd be a good idea. I feel like he would probably lose, but I could be wrong. So anyway, that is mostly that. In terms of forging, we haven't talked about that, but we've got our Alquil factory going. We're forging Girdles of Might. These are going to give 3 Reinvig for 1 Earth Gem. Pretty sweet to any of my mages, so we're going to get that going. We're forging some Braces of Protection too, because those are nice to have. I can put those on my Black Lords and they become very thuggy. And yeah, more Alquils. In terms of Alquil production, you can see we're starting to lay quite a few down on our mages. We've got quite a few of them up. We are not doing troop production anywhere. Like, I'm getting a few here, we're getting a few here, but... Okay, never mind, we're still doing troop production. Okay, I lied. We're doing troop production. Full steam, actually. I lied. I think we're going to have to turn that off in a minute, because... we're not able to do troop production and mages. Like, here I'd like to do a scout, but you can see I'm in a spy, but I'm tapped out. Okay, I guess we are doing mages. Okay. So the income seems to be fine, but I recalled, and I guess I recalled incorrectly, that we were having cash deficits at this point. This is a very scary army. So look who came out of the ocean. We've got a bunch of squids, my favorite animal. And they are attacking Agartha, which, you know, better than them attacking me. But the last thing I really want is to have squids as a neighbor. That said, a lot of Relay's dudes are magic, which means Iron Blizzard will do double damage to them, which means it's like a mass delete button for Ryland troops. The things that we don't do great against are Meteorite Guards, but he can't really produce those in the kinds of quantities needed to jam me up or to actually fight my troops. The only problem is I don't really want to get raided from the ocean. It's really annoying because I can't retaliate, at least not yet. I will later if I get into death magic, but we'll see. Okay, so anyway, I think that covers my moves for this turn. I think we're going to go ahead and try to squeeze in another turn. So what is this? This is turn 23. Let's go pull up turn 24. You can see for me, we've skipped ahead. I'm on turn 33 now, so I kind of know how some of this goes. A message from Ulm. Praise Meteor doesn't strike me. It turns out the Meteor, because it happens this turn, it strikes Bandar Log. And humorously enough, it destroys one of their armies, and I think they had some infrastructure there. I think it hit a fort. So it did a huge amount of damage, which is kind of funny. Okay, we cast Augury, didn't find anything. Augury didn't find anything. So we're really not doing that great on site searching now. It's kind of becoming apparent. We have like 5 from our capital, but after that we've found almost nothing. We found some air gems, and these air gems were super important, but after that it's pretty bad. And we've already done most of the site searching for the paths we have. There's a little bit of air site searching we can do. There's a little bit of fire, but most of the fire is going from 1 to 9, or 1 to 3, which is not great. Like, you're not very likely to find anything, but I'm going to keep casting Augury till I get all my stuff site searched, because I need income. Like, this is debilitatingly little gem income. Okay, there's a battle in Stillwind, which is us moving on top with our big Doom stack, and he just has 1 PD. And then Scalaria is attacking me. Let's see where... Okay, so he's attacking me in my fort with Occultist. I guess he was seeing if I didn't put PD on it. But no, I have 1 PD. Okay, we get some gems. And we popped this fort open. So, indeed, we are going to storm it. Oh, crap. Okay, so what we see, there was a Scalarian army here. He did not knock me off of this fort, so this turn really is about what didn't happen that I could see on my report. No battle here, so I left, the ubiquitous one dude on top of the fort and moved my army to fight him. He didn't attack me here either. So we're moving all of these guys back over. We may be able to pop it this turn when we get on it. We'll see. We're going to be taking this back with a small little raiding force. And we're going to be moving this dude on top of this fort to kind of catch him up for potentially dealing with Scalaria. Because what appears happened is this army attacked this army, and there may have been other troops from inside the fort, but the net combination of this army plus whatever in here that decided to come out killed most of the Gamherdings, and now there's a rather crippled force left. And this is definitely not enough to siege down their capital. But we don't really want him getting out. The thing he didn't do that we had talked about him doing was if he had an army here, he could have done the bait and switch, where he switches this right here. This is a super combatant. He could have put him over here, but I guess he's tied up in a bunch of other wars I can't really see with Abyssia and Scalaria. Like, Abyssia's attacked and taken this. And I'm not totally sure what's happening. We're trying to get them to just slow down the attack while Jotunheim does his job finishing off Scalaria. So anyway, we're going to take this. But this has been heavily damaged, but assuming that he was successful, just sitting on here is super valuable because it's going to prevent him from reanimating more undead and from recruiting more Rotarius. This turn, we have all of his forts under siege. So what you see is what you get for what Scalaria has. The only thing he can do is reanimate dead in his capital with spells, not with priests. And that's not going to get nearly as many, I don't think. So there we go. Yeah. Moving in. We've got reinforcements coming too. I think where are these guys going? These guys are coming down here. And I think we have time. We'll do another turn. These are kind of quick. I'd like to get a couple in. Turn 24, so we'll go to turn 25. A message from Scalaria. Oh, I sent him. I've been sending him messages. I guess this would have been on turn 23, our first one. I haven't been doing outgoing diplomacy. Most of the diplomacy for this game's been happening in Discord. So, I say, good battle there, mate, and then I say, also, I like the order scales. You can produce a staggering amount of Rotarius if you get rushed. That said, expansion without production must have been hard. How did you do it? Use a lot of gladiators in expansion? So, basically, I was like, I've noticed that I guess we can't really see it. Okay, here you can. This is his dominion. It's got order. Normally, as Scalaria, I would think you would take production, because that's going to give you more income. And it's going to allow you to really crank out some of your more durable troops that require resources and don't die super quickly. But he went order, and one of the cool things about going order is that you're going to get you can recruit way more Rotarius, which are basically limited by your recruitment points. And so anyway, he's responding to that. So he says, yeah, thanks, fought well, though I think it was your superior diplomatic skill that won the day. You really poisoned the well for me, and most players were content to see me destroyed. Jotunheim seemed especially obsessed with my capital gems and did a lot of footwork for you to his severe detriment. Expansion was decent, even if it was cut short with Velites and Long Dead, as well as some gladiator Rotarii. So anyway, that's what happened. Let's watch the battles, and then we'll see. I think I sent him a message back, so we'll do that afterwards. Okay, so Scalaria, I think, is retreating outside of this fort. He's taking all of his zombies with him. Then here, Scalaria is attacking me with one dude, which is not going to do anything. And then here I'm attacking Scaleria, and I'm just raiding this little province. He did put a fair amount of PD, and he has a couple Rotarius, so it's possible that my guys get a little damaged. Yeah, but you can see we do fine. We might have taken a loss or two. Yeah, we lost 2 guys, that's fine. And then here we have a big battle. Or not a big battle, we're taking his fort. Everybody's gone. I think he's been destroying his labs, either that or he never built them. It's possible he only had temples in his first forts, which is probably what I would have done. So, that's possible. And then I get 3 nature gems and 6 water gems. And then this fort has also been breached. But Jotunheim's army is now missing. So it turns out Jotunheim's army got destroyed, like obliterated this turn. And we can see some of them have switched sides. A lot of these Jotun Jarls are now on the enemy side, which is unfortunate. That was another reason for my army positioning. I've got my guys positioned all the way at the back. And then I've got like Farcaster and stuff so they don't run forward. So, yeah, you do not want to get apostasied, especially when your only sacreds are your commanders. Which, I don't know, at some point I guess the battle became that if you got 4 of the Jotun Jarls. So anyway, there's that, which is a bit annoying that apparently the Jotunese army's been converted. I don't see too many Gamherdings in this list. So, anyway. But there's all... Sorry, my dog going crazy again. Yeah, so we're going to move these guys in. Every turn we don't take this capital, he's going to make more crap to fight us. And he can make an enormous amount of crap out of 1 province. So, because all those priests are in here, we don't really have a choice. We got to go on top of it right now. Some mini optimization. This guy's diseased. We're going to send him all the way back to my province with a lab, where we have Sisebert waiting with a miraculous cure-all elixir, which should heal him, even though this guy only has 2 HP. Some min-maxing right there for you guys. Okay, so we're going to go take this. This group, we're going to go ahead and send up here. And I think with this reinforcements of this 11 dudes, this is now strong enough to take this group if he chooses to attack me. The only thing is, if he sends everything, I don't want a ton of my dudes. Or, like, if he kills half of my army, I don't know what's inside here. I want to be pretty careful about sending only a couple things in to storm the castle. I really want to protect my army if I can, and not have them die. So I could storm the castle here because it's broken, but instead I'm not going to. We're just going to siege it, and I'll storm it next turn once I have this fort locked down. And that way I don't send in like 10 dudes to their death if I barely win a battle if he sends everybody over here. Because that wouldn't be a horrible, horrible plan. You know, sending everybody up here, he knocks me off, and then he could potentially run back into me. The only problem is, it's at some level, it's a losing fight, because he's not going to be able to get enough Rotarius to kill this army quickly enough. But so it's kind of like death throes now, but anyway. For messages, I sent a message back to Scaleria saying, yeah, there was a lot of Diplo effort put against you. Kind of comes with playing Scaleria these days. Basically, they are auto-win in the hands of a good player if not dealt with very early. Either one of us would have lost 1v1 to you. Even though Jotunheim lost most of his fights to you, he did hurt your economy and kept your armies from pushing deep into my lands, which gave me enough time to get some troops out. So he did his job and gained some territory, but it was definitely a war to his detriment. Yet we were your only 2 land neighbors, and we knew it would be painful, but it was only going to get worse later. So he could have delayed the pain, but not lessened it. The 2 of us were chosen by the starting location generator. And then it wasn't personal. In fact, my heart sank when I was next to you because I was looking forward to playing with you, and I didn't want to be the one to have to get into an early war with Scaleria spamming out Rotarius and Undead. Hopefully we have a more normal Diplo game if we play again. Because I really was out for Scaleria from the very beginning. Not only in terms of, like, I knew I was going to fight him, but I was anxious to see who his neighbor was so that I could get him into a coalition against Scaleria, because I knew if we didn't have a 2v1 it would be really hard, and this nation's just so strong. You know, it's good for Scaleria that he started off here, because if he were in a different spot I would have been trying to form like a 3-person coalition. But I think that just comes with playing Scaleria. You've got to be ready for that. But if you're fighting like an overpowered nation, it's very important you build a coalition, because you have to know if you're gonna, like, heroically fighting Scaleria in a fight you're gonna lose actually helps Scaleria. So you've got to know when you need a coalition, when you don't. Okay, so anyway, we're moving on top of this. We're moving some reinforcements here. This is a pretty sizable stack we're moving in. And then we are moving some guys up here. And hopefully next turn we will be on top of both these forts, and Scaleria will really be in the death throes. Then we have a message to Uruk saying, be careful in your war with Agartha. If you don't get land, but just let Relay take a strong foothold on land, it's going to be bad for everyone. Maybe you tell Rilo that the alliance requires you get half of Agartha stuff. Once Relay sets up shop in a spot with his assassins, it gets really hard to get him out. Okay, anyway. Because what it appears to be happening over here, and we can't see much of it, but I've got other news from the dip below, is that Relay is kind of running around through Agartha. Agartha has one stack he thinks he can beat Relay's stack, but right now Relay's kind of dodging him and taking all his stuff. Meanwhile, Uruk is fighting from the north, and apparently is losing to pretty substantially to Agartha. So, but it's tying up Agarthan army so that he can't catch Relay. So it seems like this is a war that doesn't benefit Uruk, but benefits greatly Rila, and doesn't really help Agartha. And Agartha's pretty small. I would much rather have Agartha take all his land back rather than have a big aquatic land-based neighbor right next to me. So we'll see. Anyway, I think that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing what happens. Take care.